Fantastic. I am here with Ian Pettigrew for our series of Business Book Award 2026 Practical Inspiration Author Finalists. I've got to find a snappier way of saying that. But Ian is the author of Hope is a Strategy, Why Realistic Optimism is Essential for Effective Leadership, which is shortlisted in the Business Book Awards 2026. So first of all, congratulations, Ian. How does that feel?
Thank you. It's still unreal, but absolutely fantastic. I smile, big broad smile every time I see any social media posts about this.
Fantastic. Love the smile. So, you know what I'm going to ask you, why did you write this book?
I need to start with the definition first because hope gets misunderstood. And it often gets a bad press. You know, hope isn't what most people think it is. So hope is the belief that the future can be better. It's about seeing the ways that we can make that a reality. And then it's about doing things to make that happen. You know, it's about taking action. So there's probably about 20 or 30 reasons I wrote the book, but the overarching reason, firstly, individually, hope is really powerful. You know, I've seen the amazing power of hope in my own life. I've seen it in lots of other people's lives. And the research is loud and clear about the positive impact of hope. Second thing, Gallup did a big piece of research about the needs of followers that they presented at the World Government Summit in 2025. And they identified hope as the number one thing that people want from leaders all around the world, along with trust, compassion, and stability. But the number one thing that people said they wanted was hope. And if you look around you, how many organizations are intentionally equipping leaders with the skills to build hope? You know, how many leadership programs cover this? How many MBA programs explore hope? You know, what would you do? How do you equip people to do this? So I wrote a book, and it's partly based on pre-existing psychology research about hope going back over about 40, 45 years. But it's also based on my own academic research for my master's in applied positive psychology and coaching psychology. So why did I write a book? Why did I write this book? I wrote it to help leaders find hope for themselves and inspire hope in others, so that basically leaders can meet that need that, you know, people are craving for.
I think it's astonishing that that is articulated, because we use it in such a wishy-washy way, hope, don't we? So yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
And I feel this, it's kind of an obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do we need the book right now?
I need to do another definition about something else we get wrong as well. So people talk, so many newspaper articles at the moment talk about, you know, are we optimistic and hopeful? And they use those words interchangeably, and they're fundamentally different things. Optimism is this kind of like general expectation that things will be better, and it's related to, but it's different to hope. So I posted on social media a couple of weeks ago saying, you know, while optimism waits, hope acts. As I read the news, you know, read the paper on my iPad in bed each morning, I'm not convinced I'm optimistic about the future. You know, if you look at the direction of travel, you look at so many things that are going on, I'm not convinced I'm optimistic, but I am hopeful, because if thousands or millions of us vision a better future, work together and take steps to make it so, then I think we've got reason to be hopeful. And I'm already hearing stories about the impact that my book is making on the front line, in healthcare, in charities, in Ethiopia, in all sorts of situations. So I'm at risk of giving myself the ick as I say this, because I'm not great at self-promotion, but I actually think the world needs this book, because it needs us not to feel pessimistic about the future and just retreat. We need to lift our eyes up and focus on a better future, and then do things to make it so.
I love that it's so sleeves rolled up, this book. There's nothing kind of wishful thinking about it. I love that. And I've got to ask you, Ian, when you found out that you had been shortlisted, just tell us about that moment.
Well, I was there in London, and for the shortlisting reveal, and I had a really busy few days. And I'll be honest, as I was travelling there, I was giving myself a pep talk because I was fully expecting not to be shortlisted. So I was sort of absolutely preparing myself for impending disappointment and wondering why I'd chosen to go there. I've never entered for any awards in my life until this year, and it's because I don't like sort of feeling rejected. I know it's not rejection if you're not shortlisted, but I don't like that feeling. So I've always just avoided awards. And I was sat there and we were doing a big whoop as other practical inspiration authors were, getting shortlisted.
There's a lot of whooping.
Absolutely, there was a lot of whooping going on, and I was sort of bracing myself for, but it's really fine. I'm really pleased for everybody else. So my honest initial reaction was just shock. It was kind of like, what? Have they shown the wrong slide? I'm on there. And then it was just an overwhelming sense of delight. It's kind of, I'm just, I poured my heart and soul into writing this book, and it really matters to me. And I really want it to be out there and making a difference. And so to just have that kind of recognition. And I was sat on a row. There was Angela with Meaning Over Purpose and Virginia with The Good Communicator. And all three of us were shortlisted. And so that feeling of sort of camaraderie on our row as well was just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, shock, then ecstasy, I think. Just amazing.
Right. Fantastic. And have you picked out your frock for the September awards yet?
It's been a long time since I've been to a black tie do, actually, and I'm a horrible sort of confession here is I'm not convinced I'm going to fit into So I don't know. So I can see a shopping trip coming up here definitely, and really, just really looking forward to it, and kind of, let's see how Hope is a Strategy does, but also what an amazing buzz, of people all writing things that that matter, an amazing celebration.
That make the world a little bit better, one book at a time. Brilliant. Ian, thank you so much for talking to me today, and I wish you every success in September. I will see you there soon.
I will look forward to celebrating together. Thank you.